building my dome. Concrete walls, yeah, it's my home. Stockpile stacked with rations tight. Prep for the dark, we'll light the fight. Forage the woods, take what I need. Off-grid living, no time for greed. Barter goods in the shadow shade. Tactical steps in plans I've laid. Back to the bunker where the truth won't bend. Water and food where the road might end. Bug out bags by the door, stand tall, prepared for the fall. Yeah, prepared for it all. Generators hum, a comforting sound. Blackout nights when chaos surrounds. Seeds in jars, yeah, we're growing life. Homestead and strong in a time of strife. No high-tech wires, no web to roam. Resilience beats the world unknown. Hands in the soil, hearts in the fight. Staying ready every day, every night. Back to the bunker where the truth won't bend. Water and food where the road might end. Bug out bags by the door, stand tall, prepare for the fall. Yeah, prepare for it all. Back through the bunker where the truth won't bend. Water and food where the road might end. Bug out bags by the door, stand tall, prepare for the fall. Yeah, prepare for it all. Prepare for it all.
Okay, looks like the technology actually worked. Everybody, welcome back to the live stream. This will be my final live stream for the week, and my special guest tonight is Lee, because I have to say it the correct way.
That's right. Yeah,
Lee,
yeah.
coming to us all the way from Great Britain. Wales is where he is. Mid Wales.
Mid Wales, that's correct. Yeah.
Mid Wales. And one of the things that we like to do here is we recognize the people who popped in here first. And hopefully I've got this right. Debbie Chandler first. Alrighty then. Number 2, Matt Pierce, you are deterred. We also have the wandering prepper in here who just came back from Europe. I don't even, hey, let me know if you're back from Europe, man. Who else we got? We got Deanna Catitude. Alrighty then. He's another foreigner. He's from Canada. He's my favorite Canadian. Let's see. We got Dave Olereed, and we got Rose Stoller, Cindy Hoff. Where are we at here? Bradley Collins, West Virginia Pappy, Bob Peta, Ian SK, and Wandering Prepper says, I'm back. Also, alrighty then. When you said, don't forget to take off the name tag, I actually reached up. But that's not where they wear them. The running joke, Lee, the running joke is that I work at Walmart because I'm constantly going there. It's like it's like the biggest store that's closest to where I am. Where I live on the Eastern Shore of Virginia, it's very, very rural. So, it's like this whole giant 62-mile swath of land, and there's only one major store on it. So you pretty much go there for everything.
Everything under one roof.
There you go. There you go. Lee, he basically runs, as you guys know, I basically go out and use some artificial intelligence that pisses some people off, but oh well, they'll get over it. Someone just did something. I think they just joined or something. But I found Lee just through going through the YouTube channels. Really liked his videos. I like them because they're just basically clean, honest, preparedness-based videos. Now, Lee also does run. His YouTube channel is associated with his business called the Bug Out Shop. Hopefully, I'm saying that right.
That's right. Yeah, that's correct.
He appears to be the primary guy. I've never seen anybody else in his videos, so he can say that's all mine.
Yeah.
But he basically shares his experiences from his time in the military, homesteading setup, shop operations. And like I said, it is tied to his business. Now, his business is www.thebugout.co.uk. I've also listed that in the description. If you guys are watching this from the great other side of the pond and you want to check his stuff out, I most definitely recommend you do that. I was looking at your site today. You got a lot of stuff, man.
Yes, yeah. For a small shop or store, yeah, I got a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha. Let's see here. The channel is about, it basically focuses on gear reviews and demonstrations, SHTF preparedness, community and events, which I really want to talk about, and obviously all the business tie-ins. You know what I'm saying? If you wanted to tell any one person about you or what you do, now is your chance. What are you doing? Give me your elevator speech, man.
Well, I'm a family man from rural mid Wales. And yeah, 5 years ago, opened up a prepping and survival shop. Before that, I was in the construction trade, as you say in America. But the shop has taken off. I got busier and busier, so that's my full-time job now. And part of the prepping community in the UK. So we go out to different meets around the country as well, and different events. Plus, I own I hold my own events as well, and we do. I work with a guy, ex-military himself, who do prepping and survival courses. So we do courses. So we sell the gear, we train people up, and we do a community-based projects as well. Yeah. So we do it all with the Bug Out.
Yeah. I love it. I absolutely love it, because I think we need more places like that here in America.
Yeah.
We have gatherings. They're normally annual. There are certain groups out there that will do a quarterly kind of like bug out camp where they just go and camp out and sing Kumbaya and all that other stuff.
Right.
But we do have significant training facilities here in the United States too. I mean, they've gone close to corporate. I would say that they're corporate without the corporation, because they're big business. They're big business. Sorry about that. That's that potential spam guy. That spam guy that's got so much potential, he just keep calling you over and over.
Yeah.
So one of the things, and hopefully I'm not putting you on the spot here, but so when in watching your videos, there's a common theme there. It's called the STEP acronym. Are you with me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So with the STEP acronym, and it basically, guys, the STEP acronym kind of provides a clear framework, for the first 24 hours of an SHTF scenario. And we're kind of what really inspired you to develop this kind of systematic approach?
It's just trying to get people to make it easier to remember. That's all. And it's hard trying to come up with some acronyms, trying to get the certain words in it to make an actual word itself, an acronym to be a word. So that's the only way of I can explain it, is just making it easier to remember.
Okay.
With the acronyms, I don't always do it. But if I think it adds value to the video, I'll make it up in an acronym. But yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. And so it's kind of you prioritize. You talk a lot about water, which is my number one thing.
Yeah.
But prioritizing water, or basically securing water, food, emergency supplies early in a crisis. What are your top tips for preppers in urban settings with limited space to secure these essentials quickly?
Yeah, well, water is a top priority there, because everybody needs water, don't they? You don't drink enough water, you can have problems.
Yeah.
So it's securing that initial water. If it's just a run-of-the-mill emergency, we have it in the UK, there's something wrong with the water quality, then water companies will provide you with water. But what you find is, in that case, especially in the urban environment, it's like chaos trying to get bloody bottles of water, off these people. So if you can secure your own water, it's easy. You're not going to mix with the crowd, arm wrestling for bottles of water. But in a serious situation, when them supplies aren't there, that's when you really got to think, right, how am I going to secure enough water for myself or my family? So that's why it's always prioritized. So say if electric went off, you'll have so much water initially, but pumps will start, obviously won't work. So your water pressure is going to drop. So you've got limited amount of time to collect as much water as you possibly can. So you'll find in most of my videos, when it comes to preparedness, it's usually emphasized on how much water you need and how to get it. I store water myself, but you can only store so much water, can you? Unless you've got your own warehouse. So the next stage, or the next step, is a water filter. So you haven't got to worry about storing X amount of clean water. If you've got a good enough filter, then you can obviously filter grey water or rainwater. Yeah. So
Okay.
What's the best way of doing it? Well, there's numerous different ways, but I would always argue the case about getting a decent water filter and just store enough water as you can in your house. If you haven't got a lot of room, you have to just be creative. That's all. Underneath your bed or top of your cupboards. Just as long as the water's kept away from sunlight, and away from any heat source. Don't put it underneath a bloody tumble dryer or something. Then it should store for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha. On the water-related one, we got a question in the comments here from West Virginia Pappy. Does the UK use silcocks or commercial buildings? I don't know if you guys are you familiar with that term, a silcock key?
Yeah, everybody carry a silcock key, but it's not as common as it is in America.
Okay.
And utility keys, some people call them. Most houses will have a stop tap, what we call it, but it's in the pavement outside the house on the sidewalk. You put an American it. So a silcock key won't open that. You need a proper water key, which is like a metal bar, but that long.
Yeah, I'm tracking with you.
Yeah, and you open up the little flap, and then you can turn it. But even then, that if the power's out, that water's not going to last anyway, because most water in the UK is pumped. It's pumped under pressure, so the pumps don't work and the pressure's not there. So yeah, you a lot of people do carry silcock keys in their bug out bags or go bags, but they might struggle finding a water source where they can use that key.
Yeah. Okay. That's a great answer, man. A lot of people don't know that. That's kind of like for I run a get home bag. I don't need a full up bug out bag anymore because my situation has changed. But yeah, I still carry my silcock key with me because they are common here in the United States. And basically in any town that you go into in the United States, you're going to find that.
Yeah. Well, they are about in the UK as well, but probably not as prevalent. And yeah, I got one. I carry a utility key because you never know, innit? That's the secret. It's just in case, isn't it?
I got you.
Yeah,
so we did have I don't know what to make of this question. Honestly, I don't even know what you can see on your side as far as the chat. Can you see the chat on your side?
No, I can't.
Okay, so I'm going to throw it up. You should. Can you see that on the?
I can see it now. Yeah, I've got it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this person's asking, why do so many preppers on YouTube provide tours of their food stockpiles and properties, their prime shopping centers in an SHTF situation? What do you think about that question?
Yeah, I've had this talk a few times. Everybody, there's a few people say they like to be a secret squirrel, innit? Don't tell anybody what you got and all that, which is fine. I can see merit in that. But from experience, especially out in former Yugoslavia, when we had the war out there, or the fights out there, when Sarajevo and that was bombarded, and there was people just living on the, from hand to mouth, surviving. It doesn't matter who was in the house, what stockpiles they had. They went ransacking every house. They usually started at the bigger houses first and the small houses. So you can be secret squirrel and not tell anybody what you got. But in a real bad situation like that, they're coming knocking on the door anyway. yeah, I can see, like I say, I can see merit in not showing everybody. I don't show everything what I've got,
Yeah,
but I don't worry about it. Let's put it that way.
I got you. Yeah,
Like
I tend to agree. And to answer Wolf's friend's question directly, I don't know about other YouTubers or why they show their preps. I know one guy that actually shows his basement, but has never showed his face.
yeah,
So I don't know how you're going to go get that guy. And that this could easily turn into like you can find anybody on the internet. There's always one of those, and then you've got the what is it the werewolf preppers from last year. I don't know if you caught any of that over there in the UK. Did you ever heard that term, werewolf
no,
prepper?
yeah, but like there's far easier places to go to get stuff, isn't there? If you
Oh
go,
yeah,
yeah, if you're gonna go and try and find some preppers home somewhere and trying to guarantee that preppers got some sort of protection for a start.
yeah,
So it's far easier places to go and get stuff, I think.
yeah. Like if somebody's on a YouTube channel and they say something like, "Yeah, you can come on by, but you'll carry the you'll carry the shovel up the hill, but I'll carry it down the hill." If you think that you're going to, that's like dumb. Don't go there. You know what I'm saying? That's unfortunately people kind of live in their own little world. But I do have another question over here from actually a couple of them from Candle Rose over on the members only Discord side. What is the most difficult? What was most difficult in starting your business? How well received was your business concept?
It was surprisingly easy, to be honest, because I said I had another business I was running at the time, well, two actually. So after this COVID malarkey, I thought, right, I'm opening up the prepper shop here. I could see a call for it. Plus, I wanted to get my own preps in. I thought, what better way than getting preps is open up your own shop, because you can get plenty of stuff in. And I thought I'd just take a punt, try it. But yeah, as soon as I started, it's a bit of investment, obviously buying stuff in it and then setting up a website and an e-commerce site. But once it got rolling, it was surprisingly easy. Yeah, I was surprised how busy it got. It's just good timing, I suppose.
Yeah, well, the other thing too is I hate to say it, but the world has in the last, we'll say, let's just be, a broad swath at maybe last 10 years. I've been in preparedness since 2009, but I didn't actually start doing anything online until 2019, right? But there's been a massive change in people thinking about preparedness.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not talking about like buying machine guns or 5 years of dehydrated pork rinds. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like just this general, like, there is something going on in the world and things are not as nice as they used to be, and we probably need to have more stuff in our pantry. And I'm betting you guys are seeing that over in the UK with the costs of everything going up over there.
Yeah, and I think COVID has a lot to do with it, because I think people realized how shit things can turn pretty quick, and how useless the government are. So people seem to realize then it's not worth. You can't rely on the government. You can't rely on government to sort your problems out. You've got to rely on yourself. And just going back to how it was, when I was a kid, or my grandparents, they always made sure they had a good larder full of or pantry, as you say, full of equipment, food and equipment. So if something does happen, you can look after yourselves. I think too many people got too good of a life and found it too easy. Shopping online, everything is delivered to your door. They're living day to day, so they're not got more than 2 days worth of bloody food in the house. So I think people realize pretty quick that if you want to look after yourself, you've got to make sure you've got food in the house and equipment to look after yourself, because no one else is going to look after you.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it's kind of pervasive. I would say in the modern world is what we would classify as the West. We're starting to see that more and more with the decline of our I hate to say it, but our decline of society. But that's not what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about preparedness here. We're going to stay positive.
Yeah.
So, let's see here. let's see, bug out wanderer. Oh, this was a question that came up. So the bug out weekender and the Midland outdoor and survival weekend are key community events. What role do these meetups play in fostering your prepper community, and how do they benefit from the attendees slash preparedness?
Yeah, so there's quite a few prep meets now. Used to be just one or two, because UK is not, it's not that big, and the community is not. It's growing, but it's not huge. So there used to be, say, an annual meetup, and hosted by a guy, and everybody go there, they camp out, and have a bit of a chin wag talk. But it's like a social event. And then a few years ago, I opened up my site. I got a campsite myself in the woodland to all my customers and followers, and I opened that up as a bit of a meet. That was the first bug out weekender, and since then the group UK Prepper Network, they've started one, and Midland Outdoor Survival, another group, they started a prepper meet. So there's prepper meets all over the UK now, all throughout the year, and it's just a way of bringing people together, forming communities, forming friendships, swapping ideas, swapping kit. Obviously, I'll take the bug out shop there as well, so I sell a bit of stuff. And but the main priority of it is obviously forming friendships and communities, which I think is key when it comes to emergency preparedness. Like say, if it's a serious situation, you want to make sure you've got friends and people you can rely on. If you're finding it tough, whether it's medical problems or financial, or even kit problems. If you've got like-minded people you can call on, the better. Yeah. So that's what it's all about. The bug out weekend, let's say, is my little event. I got it coming up in next month, and again, it's just a community event. I got a big shelter. We do talks and demonstrations. We have a few beers, obviously, and get a little bit tipsy, and yeah. But it's just a way of, like I say, getting together, having a good chin wag, and forming friendships and communities.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I mean, it's in America, there's very few things on the East Coast. You really have to get into the mountains of the East Coast, or I'm sorry, you have to really get into the mountains that are west of the East Coast, should I say? Basically 5-6 hours west, and then after that, it kind of like the more you go to the west is more preparedness. Right. People on the East Coast generally don't really do a lot of preparedness stuff. So you literally have to go to some of the bigger ones are like I think the biggest one is called Prepper Camp. That goes every September. They get about 5,000 people in there.
Right.
But I think that's the biggest gathering. I don't know if that. I think that the smaller groups or the smaller meets are a little bit better because you have more of a confined audience and when that going into like either a class or a talk or just a hangout, that your ties are going to be tighter. What I'm saying? You have a better chance of being friends with the guy sitting on the left and right of you in a smaller group than you will some giant classroom seating 50 people, so I think that's great that you guys can do that over there.
Yeah. And you'll find that because it's a smaller community, it's the same, you'll see the same faces in most of the meets. So you do build up really good friendships that way. And I think not everybody can go to all the meets, but we're trying to get it so there's a meet in each corner of the country. So if you can't get yourself up to, say, the Scottish meet, you can perhaps get to the Midland or the Cornish or even the bug out weekender in Wales. It's a Welsh meet as well. So yeah, it's really good. Yeah, I'm glad to see it, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah. It's got to be good for business, that's for sure. Ain't nothing wrong with that, man.
Yeah.
There ain't nothing wrong with that.
That's an upside, I suppose, isn't it? But community, like I said before, community is key. Yeah.
Got it. I like it. And so, guys, the people that are posting comments and questions in the comments, I will be getting to you. But I've got a couple more that are over here on the members only side. Membership has its privileges. Let's see. There's another one that says, is your family involved in your business and are they supportive?
Oh yeah, they're supportive. involved in a business. No, well, we run a camping site, or glamping site, we call it in the UK. Yeah. We've got little cabins, treehouse and camping and that. So the wife runs that side of it. She runs that business.
Uh-huh.
So the shop is my little hobby, as it was at start. Anyway, now it's my business. I get the kids involved. They have no choice. So when I need help, they're down there. So yeah, they're supportive in that way, but they don't really get involved in it day to day. Not that much, anyway. Yeah.
You were you just looking at the missus while you were talking?
No, she's upstairs.
Okay.
So, yeah.
You're like.
No, so we're busy. Like say Nick, the wife, she runs that side of it. I run the shop. Kids obviously in school and college and that. So yeah, they got their own.
That's awesome. That's
awesome. Yeah, but yeah, it's good.
Let's see. Bradley Collins has got a question here. He says, didn't get this answered on the last live. Trying to find out what you would consider the best fuel source for a prepper.
Fuel source. Well, it depends what you want the fuel for, But I always say a good acronym years ago was KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. So obviously depending on what fuel and what fuel he wants, but around here, diesel's always good. For numerous different things. Whenever I buy a piece of machinery, I try and get a diesel.
Mm-hmm.
If it's for heating, I'm on numerous different ways of heating. So I never have just one type of fuel.
Mm-hmm.
I always think that if that goes tits up, I need another source. So wood, gas, and obviously we've got electric as well. I got solar. So I try and mix it up. Yeah. So if there's ever a problem with one, I got another to fall back on.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not sure what he wants the fuel for. If it's for heating, for vehicles, or what, I don't know. But horses for courses, I suppose, isn't it?
There you go.
Yeah.
So it just made me think of something. I've never actually wrapped my head around this, but I've been in other countries where in America, gasoline is the dominant fuel source. We do have diesel. That's normally for our larger vehicles, things like that, tractors, semi-trucks, things like that. But in Europe, diesel is more prevalent. So are there diesel generators, like tiny, small diesel generators?
Yeah, I got a diesel generator in the garage. It used to be the same in the UK. Petrol or gasoline, that was the main fuel. I suppose it still is for cars, just about. But diesel was always cheaper, and diesel was always for larger vehicles, lorries or trucks, farm machinery and all that.
Yeah.
But it took a bit of a change probably about 20 years ago now, because diesel is cheaper. The more diesel cars are being brought out. So a lot of the bigger cars, the SUVs and all, they're all diesel. Most of them are diesel these days. But since then, diesel has gone up in price. So it's not cheaper anymore.
Yeah.
But you get better, I think at the time you was getting better miles to the gallon and all that. Excuse me. So now it's diesels everywhere. I got a lot of things will run on diesel. I got little, I think you call them side by side. It's a little quad or Jeep. Runs on
side by
diesel.
sides.
Yeah. Obviously, my truck's on diesel. The car's on diesel. So I got a couple of diesel tanks. I keep diesel in. I got a digger. Obviously, it runs diesel, so it's just easier. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you kind of made me think there when we started talking about the difference between gasoline and diesel. But that's interesting. That's good to know. Wandering Prepper is asking a question here. Is what is the general philosophy on vaccines in Wales? Are there other health considerations that are unique to Wales?
No, not really. Vaccines, I suppose, it's a personal issue, isn't it? The vaccines, some people will have them, some people won't. And there's no difference to Wales than the rest of the part of the UK. When it comes to COVID vaccine, I don't know what yourself, but I never had them, and the wife and the kids, I was dead against them, as most people I talk to.
You don't have to dance around it here. We feel the same way.
So, I was arguing people, and I was warning people not to have it, or look into it more. I know a lot of people got ill from it, quite seriously. So it's a personal issue, isn't it? Vaccines, I think. But Wales is no different to the rest of the UK. Some vaccines are pushed, and they're pushed on the kids and the elderly, like the flu vaccine. and several others. Now, my children have had certain vaccines. They've had ones they have in school for mumps, measles, and rubella.
Yeah.
I think is one.
Rebola,
But
that kind of thing.
yeah, but when it comes to the COVID and flu jabs, no, they don't have any of that. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
We got Rosita Bonita on the members side. She's such a brat. Given that's in her name. Given that the UK has different challenges than us here in the US, what do you recommend in your bug out bag supplies / situations that may need to prepare for?
Well, what differences in the bag? Well, the UK is obviously a little bit different to the American. We haven't got, like say, the vast open expanses. So I always say people with a bug out bag, first thing you want to ask is, where are you bugging out to? How far are you going? Are you walking an hour away, 2 hours away? Obviously, you're not going to carry firearms and ammunition in the bug out bag.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are walking and you need an overnight stay, so you're camping out, obviously you need some sort of way, you need something to sleep on, sleep under, and sleep in. So, you need protection from the elements. So there's a lot of variation in the bug out bag. Like I've got a bug out bag, a lot of people have, but I don't intend to use it. It's a last resort, to bug out, especially if you got a home, you got all your supplies and your security at home, and the last thing you want to do is bug out from it. So like I say, it's a last resort. Now a get home bag is slightly different. If you're traveling away from home and something happens, you need to get back home. And what you put in that will obviously depend on how far you've got to walk or cycle or whatever you're doing. I've done a video a good few years ago now where I tested out my kit. I took a bus ride to the nearest city, which is an hour away, and walked back over 2 days. It's about 40 miles in total. And that was just a basic bag. I had a little bit of food, a little bit of shelter, and a whole lot of walking. So, yeah, there's no different considerations, I suppose, in UK, other than obviously weapons. A lot of people in America, they like carry weapons, which you've got to in a country where every man and his dog has got a gun. You should have one as well. But the UK, you won't find that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But hey, listen, in a more funny question that I just thought of, how important is it for you to be able to carry your Kelly kettle in the UK?
I don't have one.
I hope not. I have one that's on a shelf up there.
Yeah.
It came in some box that somebody sent me, and they're neat, but they're really dirty. And why would I carry this thing around?
I looked into Kelly kettles years ago because I was going to stock them in the shop, but they're just so big and bulky. Yeah, fantastic for heating water, and they do it fast. They do a really good job, but it's not something I'd consider. If I was in a vehicle or something, maybe, but there's better, more compact ways of boiling water. Yeah.
It's good. In America, we call it car camping.
Yeah.
But because you can throw tons of gear in a car and it makes it look like it's almost like glamping without the fancy tent,
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, guys, we have made it. I'm sorry I didn't tell you about this, but it's not a big deal. One of the things that I have to do is I got to pay the bills. I got to pay those bills because that's how I keep this YouTube channel running. So I'm going to play a little video. You guys all know the deal. If you love your country, not your government, put one in the chat. Erica, I'm going to drink a little bit of this Red Bull. I'm going to talk a little smack. I'm going to read you some educational stuff, and I'm going to play this video so I can pay those bills. Time to get serious, guys. Come here. What if the medical kit you carry could be trusted to save a life every single time? I'm here to tell you about Refuge Medical, an American company that's redefining what it means to be prepared. Now, Refuge Medical is proudly 100% American, based in Oklahoma. Every single component in the first aid kit and trauma gear, from the tourniquet to the gauze to the trauma shears, is sourced right here in America. No shortcuts, no compromises. When you choose Refuge Medical, you're not just investing in your safety or your loved ones. You're supporting American families and rebuilding American manufacturing, which is kind of important right now. Now, why are Refuge Medical kits the best on the planet? Well, it's simple. Because they're field tested and trusted by professionals and built to exceed military standards. Why settle for less when you can trust the best? Choosing Refuge Medical, American made, unmatched quality, and guaranteed for life. Just smart. Refuge Medical isn't just about gear, it's about giving you the confidence to act when it matters the most. Back to the show. Okay,
We're
and
back,
we should
we're
be
back.
back. We should be back. You guys have Refuge Medical over there?
No, I've never heard of it. No.
You should look into it.
Yeah.
You should look into it. I know that they do overseas shipping.
Right.
Okay.
I bought some stuff from America, but the time you're paying your import duties and all that, it does make it a little bit expensive.
Yeah, it's not. The game has changed in the last few months.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it is what it is. It is what it is. If we go to the chat, I know there was a couple other questions there in the chat. I got to roll back up through all these number ones. I kind of screwed up when I did that. But West Virginia Pappy says, is it hard to acquire meds over there in the UK?
Antibiotics, yes. Yeah, you can't buy antibiotics over the counter. You've got to be prescribed them by
Okay,
a
well,
doctor.
that's the same way here in the United States as well.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
But I think what he's asking is it more difficult. There is lots of stuff online, reputable companies here in the United States. They're like basically online pharmaceuticals, and
Right,
you just basically the general idea is that they're online pharmacies that are ignoring the typical doctor's mentality of only giving you what you need, and then you can actually order certain amounts.
Yeah.
And they don't go super crazy, but I think that's what West Virginia Pappy is asking you.
You know, other medical supplies, you know, it's easy to get. But if you wanted serious meds, the easiest one of the easiest ways of doing it is to tell your doctor you're going off on an overseas trip and you need certain medications, you know, in case you get ill over there, and antibiotics, and they'll give you some, and then you obviously just keep them in. Not that I'm telling anybody to do that, but certain medications you can't get unless you've got prescription off the doctor. And I think in America you can get, is it Jack's Medical or something like that? You can get like a medical pack.
Jace Medical. That's
Jace Medical. That's it. Yeah, we haven't got anything like that in the UK, unfortunately. Yeah, if we did, they do very well, especially in the prepper community. Yeah, so it's a bit more stringent, I suppose. But in the UK, you know, I say it's free of charge. All medication, if any prescriptions, is free.
Mm-hmm.
Medical equipment, you know, which prescribed by the doctor, is all free. I say free. You pay for it via your taxes. But yeah, if you want your run-of-the-mill medical supplies, it's easy to get. Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. Hopefully that answers your question. Let's see here. Wandering Prepper, you've never heard of Jace Medical? Go to the link in my description. Scroll down till you find it, bro. So scroll down till you find it. Let's see. Where are we at here? And Wandering Prepper also says, I get antibiotics in Mexico over the counter. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy places that will give you medications in different countries. I know in Germany, I had a friend of mine. We were on a mission there, and he had what was it? He had some pain pills that he forgot. He has like chronic back injuries, PTSD, that kind of stuff, right. And he forgot his pills. We landed in Germany. Inside of like one day, he was like, he went to talk to the doctor, and he went to the pharmacy that was in the same building, and he was out the door. So it really does vary, like basically whichever. Oh, you were telling me the name. Okay, I got you. It really does depend on what country you're in, but it's good to know. It's good to know. That's one of the reasons I like having people from other countries on the show, because it can give a lot of perspective. You know, people only read, I hate to say it, but we only read about the bad stuff that's happening over in the UK. Yeah. You know, we don't get to hear about any of the good stuff. There's got to be some good stuff. You know what I'm saying?
It's not all bad. Yeah, it's not all bad.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. We read out of that. We did the bug out bag questions. And guys, if you have any more questions, make sure you put them in the chat, because this show only lasts 1 hour. Let's see. Let's see here. You encourage contributors contributions like talk and demonstrations at the Bug Out Weekender. What's the most impactful lesson you've learned from an attendee's contributions, and how it and how has it influenced your prepping approach?
Well, the very first bug out weekend we done, I had a friend of mine who done a demonstration on food preserving, like canning. This is not a really big thing in the UK,
Wow.
And he's been doing it for a number of years. And unbeknownst to me, he only lives 13 miles up the road, and we didn't really know each other until I opened up the shop. Of course, when I opened up the shop, he came and introduced himself, and I thought, right, I really need to get into this canning, and unfortunately, I haven't had time to start it. But that's one of the things that really I looked at it. I thought, right, I need to do this because obviously I've got food stores, but
Mm-hmm.
I got rice and I got pasta and flour all bagged up and stored, but I don't tend to eat any of that anymore. I eat meat. I eat meat, eggs, and dairy. That's about it. So I want to get into food preserving meat, and canning is the way I can do that. So that's one of the really, we've had other talks, first aid, trauma, bushcraft stuff, loads of different talks, foraging, but that's the one that stuck with me. I thought, right, if you want to be a serious prepper, it's all about preparing and having plenty of food at home. And if you want to have plenty of food, there's a way of storing it. And I thought that canning demonstration was really good. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
the storing protein is really, really key.
yeah, yeah,
Here on the on the other side of the pond, that's it's I hate to I've kind of coined this term, and it's nothing special. A Western prepper, and a Western prepper is somebody who just like goes to the store, buy cans of stuff, puts it on the shelf, and just keeps rotating it out because the canning process for at commercial levels is near perfection. And literally, as long as you can keep those cans from warping or rusting out,
yeah.
they're going to last a long damn time. And if you're
Oh, yeah.
rotating them out, you know what I'm saying? If you're eating your preps the way I try to do, you're going to just have this constant source of protein. But, there's a lot to be said too for like, canning your own meats,
Yeah, yeah.
and then doing it right. You were going to
Yeah.
say something?
I got plenty of canned meat as well, chicken and spam. I fed a kid spam once. I was cooking tea.
How do you like that?
Yeah, well, I didn't tell them first. I made sure they ate it first, and because I love a bit of spam, but kids I was brought up in the 80s, so you eat spam fritters and all that. So yeah, they ate it. I made some sort of pasta carbonara, but used spam instead of ham. And they said, "Oh, what's this, Dad?" I said, "I'll let you know. I'll tell you when you finished it." So they ate it, and I told them, it's spam. They won't eat it ever again,
Yeah.
unless we have to. But yeah, they loved it. So yeah, you can get good protein tinned, but I like to mix up a little bit. I like to have several different options, and I thought canning your own food, or it's in jars. Really, they say canning, but you put it in jars.
Yeah.
I want to really want to have a go at doing that. Yeah. So like last year, I built myself a food preparation area where I make my own jerky. I butcher my own meat. So the next stage now is to get into canning. Yeah.
I got you. And West Virginia Pappy, I'm going to skip you for a second, Ian, because this is pertinent, and we'll jump right back to you. West Virginia Pappy, is canning supplies readily available over there?
Yeah, you can get the kits. You can get the pressurized canners and all that. A lot of it comes from America, and there's a lot of people who do it. It's just making sure you do it right, isn't it? You don't want to end up with botulism and all that. So what I struggle with at the moment is finding time to do this sort of thing.
Oh yeah,
project.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will get around to it one of these days.
Yeah, well, I mean, you figure it's 90 minutes at pressure, and then you have to build it up to pressure. That's normally anywhere from 15 minutes to half an hour to do it right. And then you've got to do all the preparation before you are even like technically canning, and then the cool off phase, the venting phase, the cool off phase. Then you got to let it sit there overnight just to make sure. I mean, it's like almost like half a day's worth of work just to can whatever you're trying to can.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's pretty crazy. And people in West Virginia Pappy have probably asked that question because, like, I can go to the local Walmart. I think they've got canning jars on sale for like $16.32, which are kind of expensive, but you can get a flat of canning jars, and then they have like a section for I'm making it sound like, hey, welcome to America. We have canning supplies everywhere. But it's not really like that. But the local Walmart carries them, and that's saying something. I can't believe more people don't can.
Yeah.
So
no, like I say, you can get the stuff in UK, but it's not as available as perhaps in America. But yeah,
Gotcha.
you can do it.
I got you. And then Ian had a question. He's like, question. How much, if any, now I can't read it. Hold on a second here. How much, if any, crossover between bushcrafters and preppers do you see? You did a video on this. Please tell us.
Yeah, so there are crossovers, and like bushcrafters, I always think is making the best use of your surroundings, in nature. So, you're making, say, tools out of wood, whatever you're doing, you're creating fire, and you say you're cooking over the fire, or you're building a shelter, whatever it is. So that's your bushcraft, and you're making the use of your natural environment, using skills and tools. Prepping, it's more if you're thinking of a bugging out scenario, isn't it? You're not so much a home prepper, but if you're bugging out, you still gotta make a shelter, build a fire, use your knife skills. So that's where the crossover is. It's them skills you'd use in a natural environment. Yes, there's differences as well. We go to the Bushcraft show, which is in the UK every year, and we have a preparedness zone there. So there's a lot of bushcrafters who are preppers, and there's a lot of preppers who are bushcrafters. So it is a massive crossover, and it's mainly focused around survival skills, I suppose, in the natural environment. Yeah,
gotcha. Yeah, and alrighty then, my favorite Canadian, he says, don't you get an employee discount? He's referencing Walmart, like I work there or something. But it just made me think. I'm wondering if it's not a good idea for you to sell canning supplies in your prepper business.
I did look into it. You can buy the jar sets and the equipment. What I struggle with at the moment is storage space. I've only got a smallish shop, and I'd love to have my own wall mat. But I just haven't got the room really. So you've got to pick and choose what will you think will sell, and what you can actually stock and store. But I did look into it once. Yeah.
Gotcha. And on that topic, well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What were you?
Well, I do some home preparedness stuff like Mylar bags, oxide absorbers,
gotcha,
food grade buckets, that sort of stuff. And perhaps when the store gets a bit bigger, I'll do the canning supplies as well.
There you go. And looks like West Virginia Pappy's in there. He says, considering the lack of space there, is homesteading a thing?
Yeah, there's a lot of people who homestead. I say it's an American term, really, homesteading it. But they live as much off grid as they possibly can. I'm in a rural environment, so there's a farm everywhere. But my wife's family are farmers. My sister's married to farmers. There's farms everywhere. So a farm is basically a homestead.
Mm-hmm.
And and there's a lot of people come to the shop who are into that sort of homestead sort of life. They try and live, I wouldn't say off grid. They're not hippies, but have the least amount of interaction with the government and the modern way life as they possibly can. So I was speaking to someone in the shop last week, and they got their own small holding. I suppose there's a British term for it, small holding. It's like a miniature farm, and they make their own soap. They produce their own meat. They do it as much as they possibly can. I consider my little patch as a homestead, but we live in a little small woodland, and we're not off grid. We've got our own solar panels, we've got our own water supply. We're not connected up to the sewerage, so it is partially off grid, I suppose. But I consider that a homestead. I suppose a homestead is not. You don't want to say complex. You don't sound like Waco, but it's just a small patch of ground, I suppose, isn't it? That's what you class it as, a small piece of earth what you say is yours, and then you defend it. That's what I think a homestead is.
Yeah, and you got me kind of thinking, like, is there like a checklist, like well, check, fence, check. You know what I'm saying? Fire pit, check. you know, but there's really no checklist for what one would consider a homestead. You
No,
know,
no.
in America, they kind of classify homesteading as like the goal of homesteading is to completely be like off grid, away from the government. Just
Yeah,
leave me alone. I go to the store once every 6 months, that kind of thing. I can make my own protein. I can grow my own food. You know, I have
yeah,
my own stores. You know, I can manage my own land. Basically, I can do everything myself. And I've got Grumpy Acres Farms because he's actually another YouTuber friend of mine. You should look at his stuff. And he actually has his own little homestead. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's I think it's interesting when people start to talk about homesteading. There's actually like I don't know if you've ever heard this term, but they call it prep steading.
no, no. I mean, no.
It's supposed to be like you got a prepper and then you've got a homesteader, and then as one transitions to the next, they become a prep steader. And
Yeah,
it's like I'm in the middle. I've got everything I need. I just haven't turned off the power. So you know what I'm saying? I haven't
yeah.
living. I'm not heating with wood and stuff. You know, he's like a prep steader. You know, so
I know a lot of people who would romantically look at that and think that is the goal, but it's not an easy life. You know, having what you call a homestead, we call a small holding. It's a lot of work, a lot of hard work, and yeah, it's
yeah.
all right looking at something like that as a romantic view and think, oh, that'd be ideal. But as long as you're willing to put the effort in, yeah, you can make it happen in the UK. Yeah,
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. You know, having a true homestead, it's just work. That's all you do.
yeah,
The
yeah,
only time you don't truly like work on a homestead is during the winter when you can't leave your house. You know,
yeah,
and you're praying that you have enough wood chopped up, you know, or that you filled the natural gas tank up. You know what I'm saying? It's like you were prepared for winter. We were talking about this today during the early morning live stream. And
yeah.
yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting because a lot of people don't understand it's kind of glorified, but it is just work. And
Oh
so
yeah, yeah.
if you're not prepared to do that, then you should probably not be trying to become a homesteader, you know?
That's right. Yeah.
Let's see here. Let's see. You cover immediate responses, community events. Okay, so you cover immediate SHTF responses, community events, and surplus gear. What's the most important lesson you want new preppers to take away from your work to start their preparedness journey?
Well, I always say to preppers or people who start into preparedness is don't panic for a start. Don't think you've got to go rush out there and buy everything under the sun. Is just think of a scenario, a more likely scenario that you're going to face. Whether it's a power cut, a flood, whatever it is, and then try and mitigate that with supplies. So if you're in the areas prone to flooding and you may have to vacate your house, then think bug out bags or emergency supplies. If you're in an area with prone to blackouts, the grid going down, make sure you've got supplies like torches, candles. So think of a scenario, a more likelihood scenario. I'm not talking World War III and all that sort of stuff, but think of a more likelihood scenario you're going to face, and do your best to mitigate that. And like I say, you don't have to go off and spend a fortune, get yourself in debt. Just add little bits at a time. Always make a list. I'm a sucker for making lists, and I always say, look, make a list of what you need, because you might find when you look in your house, you might have so much stuff already, but you just don't realize.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and then just tick off as you go in, and and make sure it's easy accessible. It's no good buying this stuff and then chuck it up in the attic or the loft, and then you can't get to it. So make sure you store it correctly. It's easy accessible, and just don't panic. Is the first thing I always say to them. Don't panic.
Don't panic.
Don't
Yeah.
panic. You'd be
Yeah.
surprised that people on the phone to me, especially like the elder generation. I had a lady on the phone the other day, a family, and she wants to get into firing crossbows, and she thinks. I said, look, don't panic. I said, you're talking situations here where, not impossible. They might happen, but more likely they won't. So start off small and just gradually build up your supplies, and don't panic.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing about lists, it's a little dry, but the thing about lists for me is I'll start making lists about projects that I'm not even going to start doing for months,
Yeah.
because it's going to give me the ability to like see, like, what am I missing? When I did my research, do I really need this thing on the list? It just gives you the opportunity to think about what you're trying to accomplish.
I think it clears your head as well, because like if you don't put it down on paper, it's in your head all the time, and you just get confused and muddled and whatever. Put it on a bit of paper, and then it's something you can work towards.
Yeah, exactly. Oddly enough, I don't know if there's a video out there that was made. I'm not even sure where. It's basically it's scenario based. It's in the UK, and there's one, like, the first, that's broken into 3 segments. The first one is these people that were at work. They didn't even think about it. The middle one was the guys who actually thought about it, and then the last one was a guy who found a bunker there. You know what I'm saying?
Seen that? Yeah, I seen that.
Have you seen an influx in like people thinking about like World War III and so on? Because I mean, you guys are close to the UK, and your prime minister has been playing reindeer games with some of the other countries these days. So
when Russia first went into Ukraine, it went pretty crazy in the shop, and a lot of people thinking World War III is on the corner. Then it dies down a bit, and then something else is in the news, and then it's it's an uptake again. So it is on people's minds, World War III, and I always say to people, look, if it ever kicked off, especially nuclear, I said you aren't going to worry about it. I said if you're in that immediate blast, you're dead anyway.
yeah.
I said, and if you're not, some people will survive it, obviously. And if you're not, if you can hunker down for a couple of weeks, seal up your windows and doors, you'll escape most of the problems. The biggest threat then is other people. That's your biggest threat from in nuclear, World War III, like that, is other people, desperate people. That's when things get tough. There's a film made in the 80s called Threads. I don't know if you've seen it.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was based in Sheffield, and it was obviously made during the Cold War, and that was based on a nuclear attack in the UK, and it's shot really well. I know the film you talked about was in the 3 segments. It was okay, for a budget film. It was all right. There's a lot of things he got wrong, a lot of things he got right. But it's has there been an uptake? I suppose that there has. Yeah, people are worried about it, and there is a bit of an uptake. Yeah, but like I said, I always tell people, keep a level head, isn't it? Don't go to the extreme. Don't panic, as I said, and think more practical. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of curiosity because a lot of people saw that little video over here. And so there's a lot of curiosity about those bunkers that are pretty much supposedly all over the UK.
We've got one locally, and we used to play in it when we was kids. And it's an observation post. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
And used to go down in the bunker on this little metal ladder, and it was built for 2 people. Basically, it was a bunk bed in there and a small toilet. And we used to mess around in there when we was kids. The farmer didn't like it much, but they were built during the war, and they're all over the place.
Yeah.
We got pillboxes as well, the old concrete pillboxes on the roads, overlooking the roads. We used to play in them because Britain at the time was convinced that the Germans were going to invade, so they had to put these things out. Yeah.
Well, I mean, what do you expect? They bombed London down to nothing, basically. What do you expect? Yeah, they're probably coming.
Oh yeah, well,
we got to try and stop them.
They bombed Swansea in Wales as well, and parts of Newport. Yeah, they bombed Coventry, flattened Coventry. So not just London, they bombed a lot of places in UK.
I got you.
Yeah,
man, that's crazy. Okay, all right. Well, we have our hour has came and went. I want to thank you for hanging out with me. Don't run off. I'm going to push a button. Something's going to play, and then we'll be clear, and then we can talk a little bit because I got a couple things I want to talk to you about.
Well, thanks for everybody. Thanks for having me, and thanks for everybody on the chat.
Yeah, everybody, you guys all did a great job. Lee, I want to thank you for hanging out with us. You're welcome back here anytime. And guys, if you want to find Lee, there are links in the description. So you can actually go there, check out his store, especially if this actually makes its way over to the UK, which it could very well. I do have some people in the UK that do follow me. you might get a little bit extra business. You're welcome.
Here we are. Yeah, great.
All right,
Thanks,
guys. As usual, stay safe. Have a great day, and I shall see you when I see you. Good night. There we go. Goodbye.
There we go.
When central power rules the game, when thoughts controlling freedom's name, when the governed lose to government might, tell me who's got the wrong